Welcome to the talk show of IndexTap Ghar Ki Baat. Our guest for today is Mr. Prakkash Rohira. He is an advocate at the Bombay High Court and is the founder of Chambers of Prakkash Rohira, a promising and upcoming multi-expertise law firm that assists in matters related to RERA, transfer of property documents, due diligence, redevelopment and other connected white-collar crimes. Coming from a background of real estate and having operated at the ground level of the same, a journey transitioning into real estate laws gives multiple perspectives and assists in dealing with several aspects of law. Hello, Mr. Prakkash Rohira. Thank you for being a part of IndexTap Ghar Ki Baat.
Thank you for having me, Shari.
So, Mr. Rohira, tell us something. What are the most common issues that are faced by home buyers today?
In today's date, you would see after the onset of RERA, the home buyer, when they are visiting the site and they are coming and they are seeing the project which is either ready or which is under construction, they are not looking at the legality, the property. They're only coming having a look at what the glamour and the shine that the developer has shown them. They are not aware about the legalities and the title and the paperwork that is required, that is mandatory under law for them to follow. So it is very important, like once every buyer should know what kind of property he is buying, where he is putting his money.
Correct. So also this plays a very important role. That's the reason why we have you today on our show, to eradicate all of these thinkings that the home buyer has, and they get a clear perspective of what are the legalities that they should keep in mind before buying a property. So we have a set of few questions that we would like to ask you, and our home buyers are very much interested in knowing this. Firstly, what is a title deed of a property?
So your title deed, normally what we commonly know as the agreement for sale or sale deed, is the document that is required to convey the property from the earlier owner to the home buyer.
Correct.
So what we commonly know as I mentioned, the agreement for sale and the sale deed is the property being conveyed from the developer or whoever the earlier owner was to the name of the purchaser.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a few laws that are required to be compliant for it, but normally what we require is for the stamp duty to be paid and the document to be registered.
So what is an encumbrance certificate and how are we supposed to check that?
An encumbrance certificate is a legal it's a legal certificate that is issued by the lawyer of the developer or the person who is selling the property, that describes in details of any encumbrances, any charge that is created on the property, and if there is any loan or any mortgage or any hypothecation that is there on the property. That's the purpose of the encumbrance certificate. Now, though the encumbrance certificate might not be issued or might not be in place, as there is no particular section that makes it mandatory for the developer to disclose that, except under what is there under RERA. Home buyer always has an option to himself access all of this information, whether there is any loan on the property, whether any mortgage has been created, as we had discussed about what IndexTap entirely is.
Correct.
IndexTap basically helps you go through the entire registry of whatever registered document is there for that particular CTS number of the property.
Absolutely.
Now, a CTS number is the number by which every land is identified and dealt and allocated with the land records of the government.
Right.
Now, under that CTS number, whether if any particular what building is being constructed. Now, when it comes to starting from the development agreement, right from the power of attorney that goes to the developer, all these documents are registered. From that stage till what other loans are taken, there is something called the central registry size search that is there. All of these things are available through the IGR search that is there, which though is a complicated process, but I believe IndexTap has really made it helpful, and it has become very easy for even an individual home buyer just to download the app and with the help of a CTS number or the name of the building, access all of this information at his fingertips.
So how is this different from a search report?
Search report is a more detailed and technical complex process,
Mm-hmm.
but though it is better to have a professional approach it, but at the stage for a home buyer, for him just to understand whether is there any other rights created, for him if he wants to have a look at what other apartments are sold in that particular building and at what price those transactions have been done. he can very well use this application and make benefit of it.
Absolutely. Also, we wanted to know, is validation of environment clearance necessary?
Environment clearance is required through the Ministry of Environment and Finance for larger projects in real estate, where there are townships or layouts of a particular size or more. So that is where you actually need to look at the environment certificate and environment clearance. Though there has been a history that certain projects have required it and there have been disputes regarding the same, but that is mainly applicable in larger projects and townships.
Okay, so not for mostly smaller projects.
What you would see more towards the city side, where single and standalone buildings, you would not see the requirement for that.
Okay. Also, we wanted to know, if a home buyer goes to buy a property, is it important for him to check the tax receipts?
So for buildings which are already constructed, MCGM has now been issuing property tax invoices to every home and every flat separately. Earlier, these bills used to be raised to the societies, or the condominium as the case may be, and they used to make the payments on behalf of it. So basically, getting a clearance for a home buyer from the society regarding the maintenance bill was sufficient. But now another field has been added regarding the property tax, and it is necessary for him to ensure and see that the property tax bills are clear and there is no dues on it.
What is the flow of title? It's often asked by banks.
So banks normally, whenever they, before giving a loan to any home buyer for a building which is what we would call, it's already been constructed and society has been formed. So banks often ask for a flow of title just to ensure that whatever earlier owners that were there and the document deeds that are there, that they are verifying, they just want it confirmed from the society, and they want to analyze that there have been no other owners in the history of, in the records of the society.
So in case of second home buying, is it necessary to check the society records of the seller?
It is very important. Not only the share certificate, but having a fresh confirmation from the society, it's very important.
Okay. And what is the main use of RERA? Like, why is RERA so mandatory nowadays? Whenever there's any construction happening, the developers have to get RERA approved.
So for every new project that has been launched, that is constructed on a piece of land of 500 square meters or above, it is mandatory for the developer to get a RERA, have his project registered under RERA. Now, having a project registered under RERA does not mean that the project title is clear, does not mean that the project can be purchased. There is going to be no objection about it at all.
Okay.
No. A RERA certificate basically says that this project is registered with the RERA. The developer has submitted an affidavit to RERA saying that he is accepting the laws, the provisions, the terms and conditions, and will deal according to the terms as prescribed by RERA. That way, in case there is a dispute, it becomes RERA basically for the home buyer is a front. In case any of his rights are violated, he can approach RERA directly and seek relief for whatever issues he may have regarding the developer. But ultimately, having a RERA certificate means that all the information that is supposed to be declared by the developer is declared on the website. It is not a certificate of authenticity or a certificate of having ultimate and absolute permissions to construct the project. No. RERA is only there for giving you with regarding to the certificate, it is only giving you information about the registration of the project and the information being available on the website.
Understood. So there are different buildings that are constructed on MCGM land and SRA land and MHADA land. So how are these buildings different from each other?
So basically, all these three government bodies that we spoke about, they are different sanctioning authorities whose currently now we have the updated Development Control Rules 2034. They pretty much consolidate the process and the laws under which these buildings are being constructed. But largely, you will see that ultimately, from a home buyer's perspective, when a building is being constructed under SRA, as in it's under the SRA free sale component, his occupation certificate, his sanctions are going to be from the SRA department. Very similar to the case that is there with MHADA over there. So in both these cases, while doing the due diligence, the buyer should know what kind of land he is buying, whether it is on ownership, whether it's a state-owned land, whether it's long-owned, whether it's a long lease. It is very important for the home buyer to know all of this.
So the buildings which are built on these lands, is it necessary for them to get RERA approved?
Yes, it's going to be necessary for them to register with RERA as well.
Okay. Mr. Rohira, can you tell us something about a land certificate, land use certificate?
The land usage certificate basically, as per the records of the Tehsildar, describes whether the land is zoned as a residential, commercial, or an industrial area. It's basically it's classified the land under that.
And how do we check the building layout?
The building layout regarding your sanctioned plans, if you're asking me that.
Yes.
Your sanctioned plans are normally what you would see in Mumbai are the ones that are sanctioned through MCGM. So the department basically, once you put up a proposal, they issue you a series of documents, that is your IOD, CC, what we commonly known as, and following which comes up is your sanctioned plan, your layout for the flat which you are looking at. It is very important to know what your flat is sanctioned as. Sometimes people have common areas that are encroached upon, that are supposed to be belonging to the society, but the developer is showing it as a part of the flat and selling it. So it is very important for the home buyer to look at those parts of sanction plans. So currently BMC is online and those documents are available online, but it's always recommended to a home buyer to have a professional look at them and basically understand whether it is a residential space or a commercial space, what are they actually paying for, what is the area that is being sanctioned under that particular plan. In today's date, you have developers and architects even putting the RERA carpet area onto your sanction plan. So it is important that the home buyer knows what his area is sanctioned as.
How is a home buyer supposed to check an occupancy certificate, and how mandatory is an occupancy certificate today?
So without an occupancy certificate, a home buyer cannot actually go and enter and occupy the house. Developers often issue something called a fit out letter or a fit out certificate, which is not actually a document by which you have a right to go and occupy a certain house. It is issued by the corporation, where the corporation is confirming that this building is constructed as per the sanction plans that were put up. All laws are followed, and as per the sanction plan, if that sanction plan is maintained, and if the sanction plan is maintained, the home buyer can occupy and remain in occupation of that particular plot. So basically, in layman's terms, what you would say is, without an occupation certificate, do not believe in any other submission, letter or document issued by the developer or anybody else asking you to occupy the house. It is a mandatory document.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Rohira, for being a part of this talk show. The conversation that we had was really insightful.
Pleasure, sir.
I hope the home buyers will now know what are the important documents that they need to check before buying a property. Thank you so much.
Thanks.